We're downtown Stevens Point at the Tech Lounge.
Tech Lounge SP LLC.
Now, where they tech so hard it rattles the windows.
Daily, man. Rattle them daily.
What game do you got today?
It's a little title called Aliens Colonial Marines, rated M for mature.
Yeah?
This is published by Sega and developed by Gearbox, amongst many other developers. This game has been in the works for almost a decade.
Really?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out around the same time as Alien vs. Predator, which was like 2010.
Yeah.
But it was just in limbo between developers, and I'll get to that in a second. I'll give you a breakdown. This is a first-person shooter that takes place in the Alien universe, where you play as Marines that are once again trying to contain the xenomorph menace that the Weyland Corporation is breeding for their own attack. You know, it's their weapon.
I didn't catch any of that. I don't even care, though. Yeah. They did something they weren't supposed to do.
Yeah, they're the bad guys.
They're the bad guys.
Always doing
the bad guys did something bad.
But I have to admit, there are a few films growing up that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Aliens was a big one. RoboCop was the other. RoboCop is uncontested. That's a perfect movie. But Aliens was great, and I kind of knew it by heart.
Yeah.
And for this little video game to come along and try to change the storyline, not good, my friend.
No.
You're messing with an angry nerd now.
That's like twisting the Gospels and to make it what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't do that.
You don't rewrite history.
No.
So there's a major plot point of contention. Corporal Dwayne Hicks, who was played by Michael Bain, and actually he reprises his role, does the voice work here. I was surprised by that. He appears, and this takes place between Aliens and Alien 3, supposedly.
Okay.
In Aliens, they narrowly escape as the reactor explodes, and they're out in space, and they're in their cryo sleep. And then eventually, something happens on board. I'm not giving spoilers. These movies are like 20 years old. I don't know why I'm trying
to... You haven't seen it now, you're probably never going to.
Yeah, so anyways, they crash land on a prison planet, and Hicks is dead. It says right there, deceased. Yeah. He's gone. Oh well, bummer.
So you can't play as him.
Michael Bain didn't want to come back for that one. And in the game, apparently Hicks is awakened on their ship, the Sulaco, for an extra mission. So they took his body out of the cryo sleep and then took him with for this game's mission.
Okay.
And then they just put a random other body into his cryo tube, and that's what's dead in 3. And they said, oh, well, they only took the military member on board. But Ellen Ripley was a warrant officer, a lieutenant. She was very much military. She was like the special services. You know, she was the brain. Why not take the person that's fought these twice and successfully escaped?
Seems to me like you're upset. Mostly just because it's not like the movie.
Yes! That's one.
So, can we get to the gameplay?
Okay, the game. Okay, so
we can nitpick at the movie later.
And now in the game, you continue your fight with the Weylands, mainly the military. You're not fighting as much Xeno as you are just humans in baseball hats. They don't even wear helmets in the game. They have baseball hats on. That's their protection? Come on now.
That's not
and then you're fighting a few various breeds of Xenomorph, including drones, warriors, and the Queen is the big one at the end. You play through with various weapons that are faithful to the game, or to the movie. Pulse rifles, smart guns, shotguns, all the sentry turrets. It has all the original sound effects. Some of the actors, like I mentioned, Michael Bain.
They played the movie next to it, yes, just to save on costs.
Yeah. Well, we got Lance Henriksen back. What's he doing now? He's just sitting around waiting for the phone to ring. Okay, and now for the bad. Everything else about the game is atrocious.
Yeah.
So there you've got unimaginative scenarios, constant frame rate issues. If there's too many things going on screen, it basically just stops. Yeah, the game's like, I don't know what to do, and sits there for a while. There's considerable screen tearing. That's where it looks like almost images are overlapping or they're just really jagged on top of each other. This is what happens when you don't finish a game, but you still go ahead and release it for $60. Jerks.
It's good enough, they'll eat it.
The AI is awful. It's just bad. Like, the aliens, they'll run up to you, and, instead of being stealthy, they just stand up in front of you and kind of swat like a T-Rex. Yes. Like, hey, what's going on? Slap, slap, slap. And then you gun them down every time, no problem. And another thing is, like, your boots must be improved, because now you can just walk through the acid without any problem. Yeah, just step over that carcass. It won't burn through you and your foot. The enemy animations are actually really mediocre. It's just like they had one template and they ran with it.
So they just kind of like slapped it and pushed it out as fast as they could.
Yeah, it had been handed between so many developers that only so many assets were taken along for the ride. And in the end, that last development group, Gearbox, they're just like, well, let's make the most with what we've got.
Copy paste.
Yeah, that's what it was. Copy paste.
And
crude environments. And the environments are probably the best part of the game, and they're actually pretty poorly done. The textures are awful. It's like N64 textures. So if you want to go on, like, a trip back in time, you just don't want to do it with an N64.
And pay twice as much.
Yeah, and pay a lot more. And there's actually no tension in the game. Nothing makes you jump. It's all just, oh, you're in action, now some more action. You're going to run over here in action.
Yeah.
It's all completely ridiculous.
Okay.
It made me punch myself in the face a number of times. The multiplayer is pretty bad. Going online against people, it's. I want to recommend people go and, if they want a game like Aliens, they should try Aliens versus Predator, because that had a great multiplayer, where as an alien you could actually crawl on the ceiling and crawl all over the place. And this one you're limited to staying on the floor.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the time or resources to make it so that you could climb on walls. I wouldn't even recommend renting it. At this point, I'm just trying to... People are playing it
here. Do you even have it here?
Yeah, we have it here, and people are playing it just because they want to see, why is this so awful? And then they play it for an hour, and they're like, yeah, that was pretty awful.
You're not getting that hour back either.
No, it's ours. That money's ours.
So, it's going towards the gold toilet fixtures that we're saving up for here.
Man. It's going to be awesome.
I've seen your house.
It's just a lot of gold toilets. In rooms that don't even need toilets. There's some gold on there. So I give this game a 40 out of 100, and it's lucky to get that. That was for the sound effects and Lance Henriksen.
That's the lowest score I think I've ever...
I'm mad. 35. I'll keep going lower.
Well, there you have it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.